This is a 2006 Suzuki Ozark quad runner, and we'll be diagnosing why it's not running. Now you notice we got a tube here. It was brought in with the tube. The guy had cut himself a hole and ran a tube by the motor up trying to make a snorkel. Came out up here. So we're getting rid of the tube because it's a fire hazard in the shop. Alright, tube's gone. It seems to have a fairly new looking carburetor on it. We'll see. He said the battery was dead when it came in, so we found a bolt to hook it up with and got it on charge, and we're going to see what it's going to do. We may have to wait for this train to go by. Right back. Now we're going to turn we got the charger set on 12 volt 2 amp. We're going to turn the key switch on. Hold on. It doesn't want to do it. We get absolutely no lights. This thing isn't stuck up there. And the key switch is loose. That's off. No lights in any position, although the key switch is turning. Looks like somebody put a new key switch on here. Alright, that's the fully on position. Much as I spun the key switch. And we got no lights, no starter. Let's run. Off and run. That's on run. Nothing there. We'll set the camera down right here. Where I can grab that brake, hit the starter, nothing. Press the foot brake, hand brake, starter, nothing. Okay. I guess we're going to have to find out why it's not getting power. First thing, being it don't look like we're getting any lights, I reckon I need to get in here where I can actually get to the key switch and see if it's being powered. That'd be hard to do through there, so the front rack's going to have to come off. Get the tube out of the way. The front rack's going to have to come off, and that way we can access this panel. It seems to already, this panel here, it seems to already be extremely loose. And see if we're getting any power up in that region. So we'll be back. We pulled the front panel loose, the front rack off, this panel here off, and all it took was a 12mm and a 10mm socket. There were 3 bolts, one up here, one I don't know if you can see in there, one in there, and then one that like went through this hole right here. Okay, But we've accessed the key switch to see if we were getting any power to the key switch. My little tool done got stuck. I got my little test light. A nice cheap test light here. Whatever. And we'll stick it in here if I can do it. See, red light comes on. We have 12.2 volts. But when you turn the key switch, it's not coming on. So, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do for that. Okay, I have actually cut the end of the key switch because the key switch was bad, and I just used the red and the orange wire is the ignition system. If you hook power to the gray wire, it cuts your lights on. There you go, lights on. That'll wrap the ignition system, and now we have a neutral light. Well, we did have a neutral light. Must have another short also in here. So we got to find and correct that short, which I think is just in that thing. That's probably what's been burning the key switch out, is that connector has burnt the key switch out. But now that we have that, a neutral light, we're going to check. Turns over. I'm going to look right down here. I got my gap jumper. See if I can focus in on it and get it in frame. Yep, ignition. Okay, now that we have ignition, we know what the problem is with the electrical now. We'll disconnect it. Sounds like it's going to have plenty of compression, but that's the next thing we're going to check. Okay, we got our compression checker, or a compression gauge compression checker. Okay, we've got our compression gauge hooked in, screws into the spark plug hole with the correct adapter. Now, I wanted to talk about the compression check a little bit. If you Google it, it says to turn your engine over 4 revolutions. And then also if you look down, it says 4 to actually 10 revolutions. And the reason being it says that is on a 2-stroke motor, if you spin your motor 4 revolutions, you get 4 compression strokes. On a 4-stroke motor, if you spin your motor 4 revolutions, you only get 2 compression strokes. Now, if you spin your motor on a 4-stroke motor, if you spin it over 10 times, you get 5 compression strokes. Now, I think that 5 compression strokes, you're going to get a more accurate reading for the motor. Therefore, I spin mine over about 10 revolutions. Alright, now that we got that clear, let's spin this motor over. Go back to our little hot wire situation. Okay. hot wired, little with the wires. We can get some power. A little green light needs to stay on. Okay. Give it some more juice back here. Now we're going to turn this motor over. Let's see what kind of compression we got. Okay, we've got a reading of about 102. That's just enough for this motor to run. Alright, so it should run. Out of all, you know, with it having 100 compression or more, it should run. It's old and may not run for a whole bunch longer, but it should run. So, on to the next thing. Alright, I went ahead and did away with the switch that was burning the connector here that the switch goes to. That most likely is the reason why the ignition switch was burnt out. I got my wires wrapped around each other. I did try connecting the ignition switch directly to these wires, but the ignition switch, it only confirmed the fact that the ignition switch itself, the ignition switch is burnt out, and that connector that I removed right there is probably the cause of the ignition switch burning out. Okay. So now that I've explained the electrical part of it, that takes care of that. We got our neutral light on. I pulled the air filter out, cleaned the air box out a little bit. It had like some water and some oil and some dirt and stuff down in there. I cleaned that out. Now what we're going to do, if I can hold the camera correctly, I'm going to turn my charger up a little bit, and we got a little starting fluid because it wouldn't crank. I put gas in the tank and there's gas going to the carb, but for some reason it don't seem like it's getting gas, so we're going to try it with a little starter fluid. Just takes a little bit. Then we're going to hit the start button and see what happens. Hey, crank right up. Must still not be getting gas. There we go. Probably going to have to clean the carburetor now. Which I don't understand it. We'll probably just have to find out what the obstruction in the carburetor is that's keeping it from getting gas. Right now I think it's running on the fumes of that starter fluid I sprayed in there. Maybe a little bit of gas. It's hard to say. Alright, so next we'll be pulling the carb out of this and cleaning it up, or finding out why it's not getting any gas. I'm going to try to give it a little gas. No. Okay. We're going to go ahead and get started on the carburetor removal. Find out why this thing isn't getting any gas. a little O-ring on the other side. It goes back in the slot and you put it back on. Generally, you can push that up by hand, get your cable pulled out. And I dropped it, of course. Careful not to lose that thing. It's what holds the cable in here. And somebody's tightened that with a wrench. So let me grab another wrench. Now that we got the carb removed, get it in frame. We'll take the float bowl off. This off. This is the carburetor off of the Suzuki Ozark, and we're going to see what's going on inside of it. Oh, yeah, look at that. Y'all see that? I think we may have found our issue. Get the focus to work. I don't know if y'all, how well y'all can see that. Definitely water. Let's see. Actually, I'll get y'all a better view here. Oh, you can probably see it milky white in there now. Milky white substance. Alright, I'm going to dump the milky white substance out. And this is what we got left with in the bottom. Nice stuff. Alright. So I'm going to get that cleaned out. And as you can see, the idle jet seems to be pretty decent looking in color, but this main jet is pure crud all over it. So we're going to have to pull those out. We're going to have to clean this carburetor up real good. And probably pull the top off the carburetor also, just to make sure no crud's up in there. And to be able to blow it out properly. But I want to get the white stuff off of this real quick before it dries. I'll be right back. Got the bottom of the bowl, all the white stuff out of the bottom of the bowl. It did corrode the aluminum some. I don't know how old this carburetor is. It looks fairly new. But now we're going to get to the rest of taking this thing apart. Let's see, let's get the main jet out first. Come here with a screwdriver. Okay. Pull the main jet out, lay it down. What else? Get the floats out of the way. That way. Pull the pressure on that one. Generally they pop right off. You just loosen that screw up. Okay, then we'll take the screw all the way out. Alright. Pin was a little stuck. I gotta get my glasses, but I think it looks pretty good down in the seat. I'll go ahead and take the emulsion tube out. Emulsion tube. And see what we do about getting the pilot jet out. Fell right out. Okay, that's about all we got to remove from this end. A little bit of corrosion in there from the water also. Alright. I'm going to remove the top, the diaphragm, make sure no water is in it. That way you can blow through the carburetor without harming the diaphragm. There's a little clip on this side. Okay. I hope I just did that. I did. Okay. A little bit of corrosion right here. Spring looks good. Pull this out. You always want to notate which way this thing came out too. Sometimes it's looks like it'll spin all the way around. But there's a little tab right here, and that tab's got to go through the slot right there. And you got to put it back in. The reason why I took it out, y'all can see the little bit of corrosion on that needle. I wanted to make sure that needle was good and clean. And also, we'll be able to blow through the carburetor now with that out of there without any fear of harming any diaphragms. Sometimes there's a little rubber washer in here. Make sure you don't blow that washer across your shop or anything. Okay. The only other thing would be the air idle screw. Just generally here, somewhere near the engine side of the carburetor. Drop it out. There should be an O-ring. I don't know how well y'all can see it. There's an O-ring, a little washer. So I'm going to set them right there so they don't get lost. A spring. And this generally has a sharp needle end on it. I don't know how well y'all can see that. Let's see. Make sure it's got a sharp point on it. Okay, that one looks good. Pretty much double check over it and make sure there's no anything you're going to blow apart or blow out of it. Then we just blow it down real good and then clean up the jets. We're going to blow the carb out real good with air through all the passages that we can find, and compressed air. And then all the jets that are here by the screwdriver, we're going to clean those up and make sure we can see through down in the middle of each one. Clean up the emulsion tube some. Clean off the needle valve, so make sure it don't have any corrosion on it, on the needle valve. And just the main jet. We'll put it back together here in a minute. One more thing before we get to blowing it out is we want to take, I almost forgot. Has a diaphragm accelerator pump. We want to make sure we get it off. Whoop. There it went. It went across the room. Oh, now we got a spring to find. Well, at least we didn't hurt the diaphragm. Just got to look for the spring. Oh, there it is. Right there. It's tight. Normally it comes off a little better than that, but if it don't, tap on it with a screwdriver or something, like I just did. Don't beat it to death, but just tap on it. And make sure you don't do like I did and let the spring go flying. Okay, ready to be blowed out. Now that we've cleaned up the emulsion tube, the idle jet, the main jet, the needle valve, the needle, and pretty much blowed through the carburetor, we're going to start putting it back together now. Just pretty much put it back together the way it came apart. I plan on doing a better in-depth carburetor video at a later date. Or there's plenty of them on. There's plenty of people that's done plenty of them. I'm not sure how many videos you've watched before mine, but I suggest you go watch a few other guys on carburetors. Carburetors can be tricky if you don't understand them. Now we just got to get it back on the four-wheeler, and pretty much that's reverse direction. Do a quick check of the oil. It's a little low. Not bad, but it's a little low. Alright. Good enough to let us see what it's going to do. Pull the choke. video or if it helped you in any way at all, please subscribe, like the video, and subscribe to our channel. There'll be more to come, hopefully. Like the video